Hey, Facebook. All right. Think about this. Is it best right now that in the world, every single day, still 20,000 kids are dying from preventable causes? Is that okay? Or do you want to do something about it? How about the fact that 25% of the world's population still doesn't even have access to basic, adequate sanitation? 25%. That's a lot, according to the CDC. I was just looking it up. Or there's the school to prison pipeline, where you can accurately indicate the likelihood of a child having either a lot of success or ending up in jail or on welfare based on fourth grade reading levels. And the fact that right now, the national report card just came out last year, reading levels are at the same rate, the same level that they were in the early 90s. Okay. Is that best that we have those stats? Well, I'm here to today talk about that it's not best for that. And anyone with common sense can see that is not the best outcome for each individuals and as a collective. So I'm going to go over a main principle today, and actually over the next 13 or so days, I'm going to cover the 13 principles that I live by and how you can apply them in your life, because when you can operate from principles, which are truths, that makes your entire life flow a lot more effectively, because then you don't have to think about, oh, do I feel like it or not? You just do the thing you know you got to do. And the results for that within my life have been profound, because I've now gone from going up and down all over the place in my business, relationships, personal lives. Anyone here ever go up and down, ride that roller coaster? Well, I'm going to show you how with principles, and not just any principles. I'm talking about specific principles, starting with what's best for all, that will guide you throughout the rest of your life. And it's going to be really eye-opening. So back to this point of, is it best that we have all this suffering in the world? No, it's not. I dare anyone to argue that it's best that we still have an absurd amount of children dying every single day and every single year from preventable causes. All right, just look at that for yourself. Would you want to switch positions with them? So now here's the question. Here's the next question. Are you willing to look beyond just your self-interest? Are you willing to really look at, where do I really not care about others? And where am I really just fighting for myself? That's a really deep and important question to ask for ourselves, because it requires self-honesty, which I'll get into tomorrow, which is the next principle. But to stay focused on what's best for all, this is a deep one. And here is a really solid definition. And I would recommend, so take this from the comments, and I'd actually save this on your computer. And I can put a link to where I'm getting these principles from, which is a group called Desteni, which has the most sound set of principles I have ever seen. And that is what I'm operating from. Now, I've added my own principles too, and I've blogged about this, and I've worked them into my life where I'm at. But the core 13 are there, and they are solid. And so that's the next 13 days when I'm going over. Now, I'm going to read this here. And for those watching the replay, and I might put these in MP3 later for people to review and download and things like that, I'm going to read this, and we're going to really pull this apart. And I've read these probably 20 times now, and I've written about them, I've unpacked them, and it is, even if you've heard these before, let's really look at it now in a new unit of time, because again, principles are timeless, and so no matter what's happening in your life, you can use this and apply it. All right, so what is best for all? And in simplest terms, that means, are you in it, and are you operating just from self-interest? Do you really only care about yourself or your group or your country or your culture that you're part of? Or do you have the vision and the common sense to realize we're all in this together? Me versus some person who's in rural Mongolia who's never seen the internet or a computer, we're still on the same planet. The odds of me being born to my parents and living in this body and experiencing life and living life here compared to that person, well, like, what are the odds? I know that I'm here and I have the ability to choose and direct myself based on principles. And so that's what we're going to. Sorry, I was getting a call there from Eligwe. Eligwe, watch my live stream. Stop. Don't call me right now. We'll talk later. All right. So into it now. This is dense, but it is extremely valuable. Again, if you've already heard this before, listen again because you'll pick up something new this time. All right, the principle of what is best for all. This is what it means. Guiding myself in thought, word, and deed to always, in all ways, direct all things to the best possible outcome for all. Taking into consideration the effects of my thoughts, words, and deeds on the world around me, people, plants, animals, and environment, and ensuring that the thoughts, words, and deeds I am living honor the best potential of myself and all of life on earth to the best of my ability. Standing unconditionally in the shoes of all people and all things, and being able to, at the end of the day, say that I've fully considered all within the context of creating the best possible outcome for everyone and everything, that I've honored and considered them in the way that I would like to be honored and considered. Wow, that is solid. Let's pull this apart. And for those who are looking at what I'm reading, it's in the comments here. I posted this. This is the actual explanation of what it means to live by what is best for all. And if you have comments, things that you would add to this, questions, anything like that, throw them in the comments. We'll address them. So back from the top, guiding myself in thought, word, and deed to always, in all ways, direct all things to the best possible outcome for all. That is so solid because that's looking at your thoughts. So any of those thoughts you have, the back chat, the self-judgment, self-criticism, judgment of others, that's, if it's not a best thought, you can work through that. We have tools for that. But really, your thoughts, your words, and your deeds are all able to come into congruence and alignment so you can direct yourself and always aim toward the best possible outcome for all. Pretty profound, right? And it's not an overnight thing. You don't just say, hey, one day I'm going to do what's best for all, and then it magically happens. That's not how this works. This is real physical reality where change takes time in a process, but we have all the tools to support you. Many of them are free, and we can get you underway with this for those who actually resonate with this, because at your core, who you really are, you're either in it for what's best, or you're in it just for self-interest. And so if you're in it just for self-interest, well, still stick around because we can show you how to work through that. And if you're here because you actually care about what's best for all, but you maybe don't know how to get there, well, keep watching because I will give you the exact solutions because we have them and we're well underway. And this is also why I'm making the video, because this is too good to keep to myself. And I know Drake, who's watching this, and some others who are part of this, we've got solutions. So that's that. Now let's keep going. Taking into consideration the effect of my thoughts, words, and deeds on the world around me, people, plants, animals, environment. Oh, taking into consideration the effect of my thoughts, words, and deeds. I mean, look at that. Spending time judging others, or acting in spiteful ways, or not acting in ways that could actually be supportive to other people. Really look at that for yourself. Because when we're talking about best for all, what's up, John? Good to see you here. Best for all is the easiest way to start is just do best for you in your current level of responsibility without actively harming other people. But you can't go be leader of the world or king of the world or whatever country you're in right now. You can't just jump right to that, right? Unless you're born in the elite and you've been groomed for that since day one. So look at it as a step-by-step process, but where you can do your best today. You give your best effort, because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. If you're the kind of person who half-asses your work or doesn't actually take care of yourself, that's going to spill over to everywhere else. So how can you do what's best for all if you aren't even doing what's best for yourself? And not in a self-interested way, just in a common sense way of, hey, I want to actually have the best life for myself. Because when I'm at my best, it can spread to other people. And if I'm not at my best, there's no way you're going to actually get that to other people. So really take into consideration the effect of your thoughts, words, and deeds on the world around you. And now it's ensuring that the thoughts, words, and deeds I am living honor the best potential of myself and all of life on earth to the best of my ability. Common sense. So cool. This is actually possible. All right, standing unconditionally in the shoes of all people and all things, and being able to, at the end of the day, say that I have fully considered all within the context of creating the best possible outcome for everyone and everything. Wow, that is so deep, because think about this. If you're going to fully consider all within the context of creating the best possible outcome for everyone, that means you got to be smart. If you're going to actually consider how you can create the best outcome for someone, think of it like this. Imagine you're a parent, but you have no idea how to parent. You don't know how to support your child. You don't know what good nutrition is. You don't know how to set up a good home life. Well, you can't even consider how you can actually support that child to do what's best. So being able to consider and take in context requires an elite level of education. And that's one of the solutions that we have that's here, and it's been here for a while, and it's called TechnoTutor. And it's about equalizing and giving an effective elite level of education to every single human being on the planet. Now that's going to be essential in the mix of creating a world that's best for all, because right now there's abuse on the planet. It's rampant. And people who are not fully educated in understanding how their own mind works, how relationships work, and things like that, well, that requires a new level of education and understanding. Not education like school. Okay, school brainwashed you to have low self-esteem and live in fear and just be controlled. Real education is when you direct yourself or those around you to actually learn more and expand more and do more and enjoy life more and share more and give more. That's a real education. So what we're bringing this back to with what's best for all is you need to have education in the sense of understanding this is how I'm operating, this is how the world works, and now in all that context, now we can make decisions. Like if you are the president of a business or a president of a country, but you don't know how economics work or financial policy or just the general political landscape or geopolitics or things like that, how are you ever going to be able to actually take into consideration everything that's going on in the world and then make an effective decision? It's impossible. So to do what is best for all requires one to have an elite and effective level of education. And I'll get more into TechnoTutor in future videos, and I'll share more about the big vision at the end of this video. So standing unconditionally in the shoes of all people and all things. Wow. And being able to, at the end of the day, say that I've fully considered all within the context of creating the best possible outcome for everyone and everything. That I have honored and considered them in the way that I would like to be honored and considered. This is going to take time. Yet, today, you can commit to looking yourself in the eye, look yourself in the mirror, maybe write yourself a note, and write out some commitments and talk to yourself and say, hey, this is who I want to be, and I'm going to give it my best today. Or maybe you have one thing to do before the day's over today at your work. Maybe you have to file some report. Well, do your best, because like I said, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Now, as you build that habit of doing what's best, new things start coming onto your radar screen, and it is profound, it is spooky. I don't quite understand how that works in the sense of how you cross paths with people and new opportunities open up. People talk about law of attraction. Yeah, there's something to that, but it's even deeper than that. It's realizing we're actually equal and one physically to all of reality. And when we align ourselves with that, and we align ourselves with actually the best outcome, serendipity actually starts to happen. I just wrote a blog on this today, and it's from my Journey to Life blog, which is, I can post a link in the comments, but it's really understanding serendipity in the sense that not some woo-woo mystical, oh, I think I feel good, and you know, I'm just, I feel my bliss, and I got a butterfly flew past, so it's like meant to be. Like, no, that's called being irrational. Now, what I'm talking about is when you're committed day after day to doing what's best and honoring that in your integrity and your character, and you show up in every way with people, you actually have conversations that inspire people and ask deeper questions and probe them. that is how you can really start to, what I call, command the serendipity, in the sense that you're going to align with the other people that are also doing what's best. And it may take some time, but there's a group of us out here, and I know Cameron's on here, Bill's on here, a lot of people that have been part of this for a while that are really serious about this journey. Like, we have a group called Self-Perfected, and it's not for the faint of heart. A lot of people are into personal development because they saw some Tony Robbins video, or maybe they watched Oprah or saw Eckhart Tolle or something, and they're all like inspired for like 20 minutes. That's not what self-perfection is. That's for delusion camp and people that are not actually changing. But what self-perfected is about, here's a great quote that encapsulates it. And this all goes back to what. Here's a quote. I dare you to write this one down. I commit myself to show myself that interchange, that immediate outer change, is a lie. That's a deep one. I commit myself to show myself that interchange, that immediate outer change, is a lie. Because that's what I mean. If your is bad and it's not best, and there's suffering and there's arguments and there's chaos and you're not happy with how you feel, you're uncomfortable in your own skin, all that, well, you've got interchange to do. And it's cool. We all have a starting point. I have a lot of interchange to do. I'm not here on some throne trying to say people are below me. No, from the beginning of this video, I've been saying we're equal. But not equal in let's all go down to the lowest level. Equal in the sense that let's all build ourselves up to the highest level. So that people with Elon Musk level of vision and understanding of reality and how things work, that's commonplace. And I'll show you exactly how to do that through TechnoTutor, because it involves reprogramming yourself, but it's completely possible. So that's really what this is about, is looking at that equality between us and then committing to not accept the BS that's the, interchange, I kind of feel better, and then somehow that's actually going to change your life, because that's not how it works. But because reality out inside, when you commit to what's best and actually live that and change and do some self-forgiveness, things like that, which we talked about in the self-perfected group, you change yourself on the unconscious resonance level, that gets back to you. Pretty profound. I made a lot of videos about this already, and I highly suggest check them out and look at my YouTube. Because, so I was talking about self-perfected. It's not just this inner feeling like you have some spiritual experience or something. A real spiritual experience is this, and what self-perfected is about is it doesn't matter how you feel. Like, yes, it's fun to feel good, but that doesn't matter. You become so evolved that you just do what's best anyway. It's like waking up early in the morning and doing a workout. It's like, I don't feel like it. I don't think that's going to feel good. But later in the day, you look back and say, I'm really happy I did that. Yeah, I did. It's that level of vision and being able to see things. So now let's bring it all. So that's the breakdown of what's best for all. I just read that. If you just joined the video, I suggest watch from the beginning. Now, let's look at what does a world that's best for all actually look like. And I'll have some resources in the comments here, because we've done the Self-Perfected podcast, multiple of them, on breaking down different aspects of this. Because a lot of people see that, I want the best. I don't want a world where everyone is afraid and paranoid of some powers that be, or a world where there's still child trafficking and just horrible abuse and poverty and suffering, and there's not enough to go around. That's unacceptable. And these are why I'm making this video in the 12 more videos to come, because y'all, for those who can actually hear this, listen up, please reach out, because we don't have much time. If you look at this, if you look at the current state of the world, the US, the IQ levels in the US is declining. Like I was talking about earlier, look at the National Report Card. Reading levels are at the same level they were in the early 90s. Okay? Now, COVID just threw everyone back 6 months or a year. Plus, the education system here in America wasn't even working anyway. It's not for automation. Who thought, I have job security for software. You don't. You really don't. They've already created software that can write software. It's going to be a dramatic change that's going to happen in the next few years. We're already seeing it now with COVID, with all the protests, the elections coming up. There's a lot happening, and it's going to keep compounding because we live in a world that is not best. But for those who live in a world that's best, let's connect. So back to that point about where this is headed, look at the U.S. IQ levels are going down. There's a bunch of infighting between groups. People are like either for Trump or like so anti-Trump, and it's just like any conversation gets politicized. We can't even talk about important things. Where the consequence of that over the next 5, 10, 15 years, especially if you have kids, in this world where I am going to be shocked if even the average workers and it's even last couple years, because the rate in which automation is growing exponentially, there's going to be universal basic income. Now, who controls the universal basic income? Do you need a vaccine to get it? Do you need to be a mask all the time and only post certain things on social media to get the UBI, right? So that's why we're offering an alternative. So you don't have to depend on UBI, government, things like that. That's why we have TechnoTutor, we have investments, different things like that to support the people who understand, I need to learn how to sell and I need to learn how to build wealth because we need to create a new system fast. Because now, so I'm talking about US is brain drain where it's all going down and we are really far behind. Now, meanwhile, China, I just watched this video the other day of in a classroom in China, and they have these cameras on their forehead, these like Bluetooth powered cameras, that so a parent can look at what their kid is focusing on in school. It is creepy. It is some next level way of looking at education. It is not the best form of education, but in China, they have a totally different mentality. They're all about the collective over the individual. Well, what happens in 5, 10, 15 years, especially for kids, in this world where the U.S. the is going down, China is going up? Be ready for be ready for a big change. So again, that's why for those of you who can hear me, let's step up. Let's empower the United States, North America, and the whole world to rise up to that elite level of education. So Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, those people who are super smart, that just becomes the norm. And I can show you a 3.5-year-old right now who can build electronic circuits, read above a second grade level, and he can talk to you and make jokes about electronic circuits. Just because he's used these tools. He's not a genius, like savant, one-off, because we have other kids who can do this too. That's the level of education that's required for a world that's actually best for all. So there's a lot in this video. I suggest watching it again if you just joined, because if we don't all step up and commit to a world that's best, if you don't make a plan for yourself, you will fall into someone else's plan. Eventually, you're going to fall into the plan of what's best because we have enough resources and power amongst our group that we will get to the point where we are running the world system and we are empowering the world system so that's actually best. But join us. Make that transition go a lot smoother. I'm going to leave y'all on one point to paint the picture a little more clearly. Okay. School right now sucks. School has sucked for a while. No child has high self-esteem. The system is designed in school to weed out the kids that are memorization and then basically put them into low-skilled jobs or just like labor. And then the accountants, doctors, lawyers, that thing, they go to the top. Well, the world system is changing fast. Automation is going to replace a lot of those lawyers, accountants, doctors. Their work's going to be severely changed from automation, which is cool and just a big wake-up call for anyone who's depending on classic school. Now, what we have here is when we look at the world's biggest problems, cleaning up the oceans, war, poverty, environmental issues, deforestation, lack of sanitation, clean water, things like that, those are all massive problems, and it's not best for the world that we have all those problems. So how do we actually resolve them? This is my take. We empower ourselves and the children of the next generation with an elite level of education, which we do through TechnoTutor. Every single child builds the same vocabulary. They will each have their own specialty, but every single child at least understands the basics of this is how science works, this is how the weather works, this is how politics, money, things like that. Things we should have been taught in school, but it's rapid learning. It's teaching to the subconscious and the conscious, so you're getting both. And then these kids and the adults that are using this over time develop and be more effective in the world system. Now, when we have a smarter, younger population that eventually gets to the age of voting, for myself and for others who are going to step up into the political system, now people can actually understand, because they've been educated, not just brainwashed by the school system, they can actually reason effectively. They can now vote for policies that they actually see common sense. This is best. So for those of you, and you don't necessarily need to get into politics, but let's say you're a lawyer, or let's say you're really passionate about with animals or with kids or whatever, reach out, because we have different people and resources we can connect you with. We can even get you funding. We know how these things work in the current world system because we're understanding it, so then we can step in and do it. So for those of you who can hear this and actually do what's best for all, keep watching these videos, share them with your friends, and then reach out and let's have a one-on-one conversation. I'd love to know what your goal is, what your take is on what's best for you and for the collective, and to whatever extent I can support you to do and live your best expression as yourself, however you want to say it. Live your best life, live a great life, have a ton of fun in the process. Reach out, because that's the current phase I'm in, is connecting people, tapping them into the network, and actually ensuring that the world is best for all. So it's about understanding these principles, then getting that elite level of education, and then after that it's getting the system at a policy legal level, because that's how real change happens. And then from there we can spread this stuff so that's actually throughout the world, guaranteed. Because right now the United Nations has 13 or 14 human rights, or it may be more than that, it may be less than that. I'm not sure exactly how much it is. But right now it's lip service. They're just paying lip service and saying, oh yeah, well, we'll just ensure that every kid, has water and, and shelter and things like that, but it's not actually guaranteed. So if you want to actually ensures every single child's needs are met and every parent, reach out, because that's what we're really about. So that is what is best for all. That's the principle. That's my take on it. Questions, comments, observations, anything like that, leave a comment or reach out to me directly, and you can see me over the next 12 days sharing the other of the 13 principles. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Share with your friends. Really, if you got anything out of this, share it with other people, because the world needs to see it, right? It's like a ticking time bomb. So time to